briefly explain how tax burdens are passed on future generation?
Okay.
How or why?
I think the main reason we are taxed or we pay taxes is to improve the economy of our country and to maintain the infrastructure, even the well-being of our people. So tax burden passing through different generations is, I think, it's the only way to keep the country going, you know, in development and stability. Thank you.
Thank you. I have another few small question to Ishimwe sir. Is there any addition to the response? You can add anything? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. My questions are general, and whoever feels comfortable can answer, isn't it? The first question is related to what you presented. There's where you said about that the poverty, one of the importances of tax is to eliminate absolute poverty. And when you hear people outside there, they always complain that they are charged high taxes, and thus that one gives them, takes them back to the poverty. How do you relate taxation with poverty? Can you give more clarification?
Can I explain it in Kinyarwanda?
Yes, in any language.
Okay, thank you so much. Nukuvuga uburyo imisoro byarandura ubukene burundu, nukuvuga hari ikibazo cyuko abanyarwanda batarasobanukirwa neza ibintu bijyanye n'imisoro. Bamwe bakumva ko ari imitwaro kuri bo bitewe n'imyumvire yabo, ugasanga nyine bamwe bayishyura kuko ari campus, kuko ari itegeko, ako batarasobanukirwa byimbitse akamaro kayo. Rero tugarutse uburyo imisoro ikuraho ubukene, nukuvuga mu Rwanda dufite programs zigenda zisupportinga, zigenda zishyigikira abaturage, cyane cyane bamwe bari mu byiciro byo hasi. Urugero nk'icyambere, hari nkagira inka munyarwanda, hari nka icyo twita vision murenge program, hari za VUP. Nukuvuga ayo mafaranga akoreshwa yose abaturutse muri economy y'igihugu, kandi ayo mafaranga nkeka ko u Rwanda kubera ko ni igihugu twita landlocked country, ntago gifite natural minerals, urugero nka petroleum cyangwa se amabuye y'agaciro. Nukuvuga rero tuvuga ko imisoro ni imwe muri income ikomeye ku gihugu, kandi igihugu gikoresha ayo mafaranga mu gusupportinga abo baturage bakiri hasi. Murakoze cyane.
Thank you very much. As far as canon of convenience is concerned, I would like you to give me concrete examples, so many examples you can give us,
yes,
to show how tax administration in Rwanda is trying to comply with this canon. Practical live examples that the government has implemented to show that you have concluded that we are in compliance with convenience canon. Give us concrete examples. Yes.
Yes, as I
Here in Rwanda,
actually,
what the government has done to implement, to show that we are compliant with this canon of convenience.
Yes. Simply, I can say that even through this debate, it is convenience. So it is the way of make a clear convenience to the public. And another example I can take, in Rwanda taxation system is so convenient because there is the RRA work in each sector and the district headquarter, or every district has an RRA worker, and the sector, and the means of paying taxes has been simply introduced. For example, there is the way of paying tax using declaration, there is a way of using mobile money, there is a way of adopting illegal services to pay taxes, and also there is RRA branches so that the taxpayer can go there and pay taxes. There is the way to pay tax, or the means of paying taxes is so easy for Rwandans to pay tax, so I can say it is more convenient to them to pay tax.
Okay, allow me help my colleague by making this clear. Being convenient and complying with this canon, the Rwandan system is so convenient to people. The Rwandans are convinced, they know why they are paying tax, they know where to pay tax, and it is so very easy to them to access the tax. If you want some explanations, you can visit the Rwanda Revenue website. You can get information there. You can visit the Omulenge, the sectors, the Kagadi. There are so many workers there. So it is so easy for the taxpayer to pay tax in the easiest way. And by then we comply with the convenience canon of taxation. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like you to give me a very concrete example showing us how the government of Rwanda is dealing with the role of distribution, the role of tax as a distributor variable.
Okay, like we rightly stated, the issue of tax is not just for those that are paying the taxes. It also benefits those that cannot afford, that is the poor. So the government of Rwanda have a policy of health insurance for poor people. So that policy is intended to provide health services for those that cannot afford their hospital bill. So, and the money they generate from taxes is what they use to cover the expenses of those that are going to benefit from those health services. So in that way, they are collecting money from taxpayers and also redistributing to other people that cannot afford. That is one example. And
what we are discussing here, it's the distribution role. How the government of Rwanda is using taxation. Actually, you have said, you have brought in a very good example of health insurance. Health insurance is not tax, but is using tax. Is financed through taxation. But which tax the government has used in that health insurance? And how?
So this particular question is somehow tricky to us because we are very much aware that there are different kinds of taxes that is being collected by the Rwanda Revenue Authority. There is one issue that has to do with income tax, that is percentage of salary that is paid by employees of government and other people. And one of the main reasons for which that tax is being collected is to serve as what we call insurance benefit. Like after retirement, that you can benefit. It's almost like you are making a pre-deposit for the future based on what you earn now. So the government of Rwanda, they take portion of your monthly salary, keep it in the long run. After retirement, you have retirement benefits like health insurance that you as individual can benefit from. That is, it is something that you have already paid for at the time you was working. So income tax is what sometimes they use to pay for the insurance services, health insurance after retirement.
As far as land utilization in Rwanda is concerned, land, ubutaka, tell me, using property tax, how the government of Rwanda is trying to rationalize the usage of land. Using an example of property tax, explain how taxation is used to rationalize the usage of land. My question is clear. Basobanura mu Kinyarwanda. Ibyo mwavuze byose nibyo. None mudusobanurire ukuntu guverinoma y'u Rwanda ikoresha taxation, isoresha mu kugira ngo ibungabunge imikoreshereze y'ubutaka mukoresheje property tax. Mudu example iri concrete, mutwereke ukuntu u Rwanda rurimo kugerageza gukoresha taxation kugira ngo imikoreshereze y'ubutaka ibe uko twifuza.
Murakoze.
Go on.
Murakoze. Leta y'u Rwanda mu kugira ngo izamure imikoreshereze y'ubutaka binyuze mu misoro, icya mbere twavuga kuri property tax. Murakoze. Mbere na mbere reka mvuge ko property tax ni imwe mu misoro yeguriwe kuri ubu inzego z'ibanze, cyane cyane uturere n'umujyi wa Kigali. Leta rero uburyo ikoresha mu kugira ngo ubutaka bukoreshwe, mbere na mbere ubutaka kuba butunze, waba bukoresha waba utabukoresha burasora. Uko gusoresha ubutaka niyo bwaba butakoze ukabusorera kuko ubutunze, bituma abantu babukoresha kugira ngo nibura umusoro batanga ube wavuye mu nyungu bakoze babonye. Ikindi kandi wenda aho navugaga ku bijyanye no kubuhinga cyangwa iki, ariko ku bijyanye n'imyubakire, kuba leta y'u Rwanda yaragabanije umusoro ku bijyanye n'ubutaka bwubatsemo, juste kugabanya umusoro ku nyubako, bituma abantu bakoresha ubutaka bakabwubakamo, bigatuma banabukoresha neza, bubaka inzu ndende, kuko umusoro ku nyubako ni umwe mu misoro twita kuri regressive, aho uzamuka ku floors umusoro ugabanuka, bigatuma ubutaka babukoresha neza muri ubwo buryo. Murakoze.
Because Inyange is very insignificant in Rwanda.
Okay.
Tell me about a strategy which will take all the people together considering VAT, so that we can be sure that we will collect.
So,
because
sir,
you can't know exactly the reaction of the market on Inyange product. But I want a macroeconomic strategy.
Yes.
Not a microeconomic.
Yeah, but sir, you understand that consumers are utility maximizers. So meaning they go for what is on the market and what costs less. So as we are increasing VAT on powdered milk, the same also we are going to come with specific tax on, we are going to ban ad valorem tax, we are going to ban ad valorem tax on.
So you are advising us to increase the VAT rate?
The VAT on powdered milk, but also coming up with a specific tax on, instead of ad valorem tax on liquors, on alcoholic beverages. Because the reason why, let me finish this. The reason why it is because these some excise duties, because of the fluctuation in prices, they are subjected to under-reporting, under-invoicing. So instead of for us going for against the prices, we should now focus on specific tax on, because right now, the alcohol is buying less than food. So so why don't we now come up with a tax, with the VAT on liquor stores, on liquors which are coming outside, than looking at only ad valorem tax, which is taxed on just specific on the prices. We look at the specific quantity, that is the unit of the units of a given product. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you have shared with us the law number 048/2023 about source of income for the centralized entities. I would like to ask you, given the reform on trading license, don't you anticipate, can you anticipate any case of tax avoidance and tell us how we'll manage it to secure revenue collection. Trading license.
Okay.
You know the reforms they brought in on trading license. You know very well. I want you to anticipate a case of tax avoidance, and as far as revenue collection is concerned, tell us how we will secure the revenue. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I would like to refer to the example, like when a taxpayer is while submitting the financial statement on how the business was run. And then here at this submission, there would be the underestimated tax, and which could lead to the tax evasion. Of course, it will lead to tax evasion, where some people...
I'm saying about tax avoidance, not tax evasion.
Okay, yes, I get. Of course, relevant to that, the taxpayer may declare some of the commodities or some of other activities that was not run, yet those activities have been exercised. And then it is done out of being that the revenue collectors or tax collectors could not have knowledge on that while he has incurred on the profit.
Oh.
And then the real way to overcome this, as far as the tax collectors or tax administration, their duties are concerned, we have the workers or their people to make the audits in their businesses, and at this level they can find that there would be the tax avoidance, and then the sanctions could be provided to them.
In addition,
20 seconds, yes.
20 seconds. The other example I can give is like when someone is registering in declaring that tax declaration, and then found out he is referring to the branch as the one which has a high turnover, where it is the head office. So I don't know if you have made some remedies for that, but I think that can be leading to tax avoidance. You see, so that case can happen. That is why we can alarm you, but we don't know if you have taken some measures about that. That is what we think on that case. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. You did a great job in as far as highlighting the canons of taxation are concerned. Mine is on elasticity. I don't know whether I missed your explanation, but I did not hear any concrete example in as far as elasticity is concerned. Can you give more concrete and relevant examples in the Rwandan context in as far as canon of taxation, elasticity as a canon of taxation is concerned?
Yes, this is my part. The canon of elasticity, as we know, something elastic is something that can change the size. So the economy is not constant, so the tax system needs to adjust. For example, you can talk, for example, I'm supposed to pay taxes because I have a business, and we are in a lockdown, maybe during COVID. 2 years I haven't been working.
No, just give examples of what is done.
What is done?
Yes.
Yes, what is being done in the canon of elasticity? First of all, there is research to know which taxes are right for the taxpayers. When there is a change in situation, for example, revenue is not high or anything, or there is a new situation, when we know that the tax system is burdening someone in one way or the other, the Rwanda Revenue Authority and the tax system is updated to match, which is the reason why we are having updates. So I think the tax system is elastic because it adjusts to the changing situations.
May I add on? Yeah, so talking about elasticity, which is change. So the tax system is changed as the economy changes. So it's not a question, but we would ask ourselves, why does the Rwanda Revenue Authority change tax reforms if it's not for elasticity? For instance, they've changed the personal income tax, the rates, whereas some that had 20% now have 10%. The one that had 30% now has 20%. It's more like the tax system in Rwanda is elastic because it changes with the economy. If they see, for instance, that an importation rate, like we need more of for instance, let me talk about rice. For instance, if we're paying 75% on importation of rice as its tax, then now it's 45%. It's because they've recognized a need of rice supply in the economy. So it's more like Rwandan tax system is elastic because it goes hand in hand with the changes in the economy in the current status. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Let's give them a round of applause.
Are you okay? Comfortable with the discussion?
Yes.
Okay. So you have discussed about the internal controls, the effectiveness for cure. How do you explain that? Using EBM is any internal control for small business vis-a-vis the large businesses. How do you explain that the usage or using an EBM is internal control for small businesses vis-a-vis large businesses? Thank you.
Thank you. Any businessman, if invoice the client an EBM invoice, help him to record the amount related to sales return or inventory.
Can you go to the financial statement, profit and loss account, and then you respond?
Yes, you can even reply in Kinyarwanda.
Yes.
Wavuga mu Kinyarwanda, EBM idufasha iki mu kwirinda ibibazo twahura nabyo mu bucuruzi buto n'ubunini?
EBM
idufasha gute?
Yes, murakoze.
Cyangwa ntabwo byemera ko idufasha? Nabyo wabisubiza.
EBM ikintu dufasha, ifasha umucuruzi kumenya amafaranga yinjije iyo akoresha EBM invoice. Nta zindi fraud ajya akora ku ruhande ngo acuruze without EBM invoice. Bimufasha kumenya correct amount ya receiving from his sales. Bigatuma Rwanda Revenue iramutse igiye kumukora checking itabona fraud yanyujije ku ruhande, ahubwo bakabona ko yasoze n'urugero CIT, ko inyungu yungutse ari ziri correct kandi n'amafaranga yazisoreye ariyo.
How? You are not clear. I want you to explain very, first of all, do you agree with the statement?
Yes.
That it's easy for the government to increase the rate for indirect taxes, but it's very difficult to manipulate positively the direct tax rate. And it's right, the statement is right.
Yes.
Explain why. Why and how? Why and how?
Okay, my colleague can assist.
Oh, thank you. Myself, I don't agree with you.
Okay.
My point is this. Most of indirect tax affect those people of low income, like VAT, is paid by last consumer, and it is indirect. So it is not easy to convince those consumers about those increase. But it is easy to go for those RRA staff to go directly to those consumers, but those traders and suppliers, and convince them these have changed like this, like this, like this. But how? By taking the like example of it, how can you convince a trader can convince a consumer these taxes have been changed? So that is my point. Thank you.
This is very interesting. You are from one team with two different positions. You have got your own position, and he has got his position. Now I would like you two people to agree and bring to us a common position, because I know there is a common position. Try to agree. You are agreeing with, you are not agreeing with the statement. You are agreeing with the statement. So you are coming from one family with two different understanding of the concept. I want you to agree between you, and then you tell us the conclusion. One should convince another one, and then you tell us the conclusion.
Okay. Me first. My point is this. We are human beings.
Agree with your colleague, but
It happen. We are human being. We can. Sometimes you cannot understand very well. So now I'm confused with my colleague. What he was saying, I'm agree with him.
Okay, thank you. I'm not commenting again, but your position actually was right. I will explain later when we will meet, but your position is right, is wrong.
Okay. So thank you very much. Thank you for a wonderful presentation. You did a good job. You talked about EBM, cargo tracking, electronic single window, right?
Yes.
What each of the system does?
Electronic billing machine comes in Rwanda to reduce the tax evasion. When we say the tax evasion, it's like to reduce the people who have a target to refuse to pay tax, but they know what they make, what they pay, and comes in Rwanda to reduce tax avoidance, because sometimes in Rwanda we have the lawlessness in the law. Some people, like street vendors, some people work on the road and selling their product on the road, have the purpose to ignore to pay tax.
It can also help to in audit, because the all transaction is recorded electronically. Means that there is no way of hiding some information about the taxes.
Then single window?
The single window, electronic. The single window is the all activities made by the digital.
Cargo tracking system?
Cargo tracking system is to track the billing, which is like a burden to the taxpayers.
Which category of taxpayers who are required to use the EBMs?
Taxpayers, all taxpayers.
Sure.
Taxpayers using the EBM. All the businesses in Rwanda must use the EBM.
Thank you, first of all, for your fresh mind, because you are the one who talked without any presentation. That is your creative and innovative. But I have one question. In Rwanda, we have a tax system of source and resident-based tax system. Source and resident tax-based system. You know it? You know how that means? It means that we tax based on the source of the income
Yeah.
and the resident of a taxpayer. That's what it means. How that system reflects the canons of taxation.
Thank you for that good question. In Rwanda, you have the decentralized tax, and you have also decentralized tax and decentralized tax. Those decentralized tax are imposed by the local, like district levels or sector levels. So they know the level of the citizen they are leading. They know, for example, like the land tax. In Rwanda, they have the same range from 0 up to 88 in France, but they depend on the location of the citizen. Like if you are at Kigali, the tax you will pay it will be different from the one who are at Rusizi or at which is depend to the like for that tax to depend to the development of the society. Again at Kigali, because they spend the more tax are spent to build that at the like Kigali city. So taxpayers who are at Kigali city they pay different tax. But for decentralized tax, but for centralized tax, they are compressed to all because they froze the rate.
Let me help you by example question.
Yes.
Company ABC Limited is engineering and construction, is based here in Rwanda. If he will go for construction of buildings of business in Central Africa, will he be able to pay the tax on income that will be generated in Central Africa?
I think I can answer these questions. There is what we call in Rwanda the double taxation agreement. So the double taxation agreement, the company may operate here in Rwanda, but the company are taxed according to where it came from. If it is the Rwandan company, it may be taxed here in Rwanda. We calculate the income tax, but we deduct the amount that they pay in South Africa. As you say, the company ABC when operating, it is a Rwandan company, but operating in South Africa. So the source of incomes, they are not the one that to tax them, but here in Rwanda, they will be taxing them according to the double taxation agreement if the Rwanda has those agreements with the South Africa.
If no agreement?
If no agreement, they will be taxed where they are operating.
What?
They will be taxed in the South Africa, not here in Rwanda.
Okay, thank you.
Again, for that question, they prepare their financial statement. They receive their profit, they generate it from that side, but they will charge the tax according to the income have been generated from that operation.
Briefly explain how you discussed about the taxation.
Yes.
Explain briefly how tax burden. You understand what means tax burden?
Yes.
How tax burden are passed through the future generation.
So, thank you very much for the question.
Before you respond, focus on the term tax burden.
Yes.
Not a benefit.
Yes. Yes, thank you very much. A tax burden, it is this occur when taxpayer don't have the understanding about tax. So means people will practice the tax evasion. We refuse to report the incomes. Hence, reduction of the level flow through the tax. So this means tax evasion. People who are willing to pay tax will be forced to pay harsh tax, more tax to cover the deficit that has occurred because the others refuse to pay taxation. So this will also affect the generation because once they refuse to pay tax and it becomes a burden to those who are willing to pay, so even the development also will go slowly. There's no development. There's no effective planning for the government because of burden. So hence, the generation will suffer from that burden that was imposed to those who are willing to pay tax. Thank you.
Okay.
No addition?
So some addition for this, according someone who are not reporting your income,
So will it be affect the government of Rwanda to develop very well, where there is a reduction public service, where there is a reduction economic growth in this country of Rwanda. So will it be affect the youth or some people who are living in this country of Rwanda to get the better standard of living? Thank you.
Thank you.
You have made some investigations on law number 48, 49, 50 and 51. Am I right? So I would like to ask for assistance. Did you find in these laws any loophole that can lead to tax avoidance so that we can review them in the future? My question is clear. Law number 48, 49, 50 and 51. That's what you discussed. Tell me some loopholes that can lead to avoidance.
The assessment done is, as a country, as Rwanda, where we want to really go, as the youth, as the next generation, we really want to improve the art of saving. We want people to have more to save. And the more you reduce the income, the taxes and the corporate taxes, that means people will have much money to save, and people will not have what to consume. Since you're reducing it, and people will have much more disposable income, which means they will be able to spend. And regarding the 25%, I've seen how instead people are complaining every day that like products outside here are being sold at a much bigger price than it was in the last years. But not salaries are being improved. But talking honestly, we can't raise everyone's salary. It's so hard. But instead of taking everyone's salary and improving it or raising it, how about if we reduce the tax rates of corporate taxes, which means they will have...
So why 25?
Sorry?
Why 25?
Why 25?
Not 20, not 22.
Well, I said, for instance, it was an assumption.
Okay.
Well, what I based on is those two things. Instead, the problem of salaries, that's number one. And also what I based on is a problem of improving the art of saving. People have to have more disposable income to save in order to have flexibility in whatever they're doing, which also improves, which also brings, which fits the canon of economy, which means if people can be able to save, and it can be also easy to collect those taxes.
So these are the final results. Kepler is the first with those marks. Then Kigali Independent University, IRK, I think, the second. Then Independent Institute of Lay Adventist of Kigali. Then University of Kigali. IRPD Nyanza. Then East Africa University of Rwanda.